Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are having a fantastic day. If you're new to the channel, my name is Parker Nirenstein, and this is Vehicle Virgins. Today I'm filming a video that I don't really want to do, but I've got to. So let's start up the E63. This thing sounds so good. Good afternoon, Ariana. Looking good, girl. I am in a good mood today. The sun is shining. It is a beautiful day. Right as I say that, the scariest looking clouds have appeared. Lovely, I've jinxed it. I've got one request for all of you viewers. Take your car out after this video is done and go on a spirited drive at some point today. Doesn't matter the destination. It is all about the journey. Find a new road. Just have a blast out there. Sky senses this video is coming. You can't talk down to the E63. You can't expose its negatives. No, it's gonna start hailing and raining and you gotta put the car back inside. You're not allowed to make this video. I really don't wanna make this video. All right, time for a little mountain climb, shall we? Whenever I film point of views, I get the most ridiculous red marks on my forehead. As you can see, I'm just like delaying and delaying and delaying. I don't want to make the video. I don't want to make the video, but you know what? I'm gonna quit the BS. We're gonna get to the top of the hill and we're gonna start this thing. Oh yeah, I think that'll do. I've driven my 2018 Mercedes AMG E63S for the last 2,000 miles and have absolutely fallen in love with it. Its mix of power, sound, luxury, refinement, and comfort are unmatched by any other car I've driven. For those of you who have been with the channel for a long time, thank you very much. You guys are familiar with the fact that my 5 Things I Hate About series is kind of a staple of Vehicle Virgins. From ripping apart a 2006 Heritage Edition 4 GT to talking crap about my M5 and even my Lamborghini Huracan, I have made a pact to myself and to the audience to determine the negatives, the downsides of every single car I get behind the wheel of. Because honestly, no matter how good it is, no car is perfect. Now, I have never had more difficulty finding downsides to a car than with this E63. Other than the fact that it's not a spaceship and it hasn't really helped me lose any weight over the last couple of months, it is a solid car. And while I contemplated the idea of making a sarcastic parody video, giving you total BS reasons why I didn't like the Mercedes AMG, like, there's too many AMG badges and it only came in a certain amount of colors, it's time to actually discuss some legitimate drawbacks of the E63S. Well, here it is, ladies and gentlemen, 5 things I hate about my E63S. First up is its weight. The E63S weighs 4,515 pounds, which is equivalent to 13.7 sumo wrestlers, in case you were wondering, which obviously you were. The E63 is all-wheel drive. It is a monstrous 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 in the front, tons of sound insulation, amenities, it's draped in leather, and that is a recipe for a heavy car. In fact, at 4,500 pounds, it actually weighs the same as a Dodge Charger Hellcat, a vehicle that has garnered the name "I'm a f***ing boat" because of how heavy it was. Let's compare it to the new BMW M5. That weighs 150 pounds less compared to the CTS-V, which has more power and more torque than the E63. That weighs 386 pounds less than this does. Now, Mercedes has done wonders with the steering and suspension of the E63S. It really doesn't feel like it weighs the same as 13.7 sumo wrestlers. The steering is direct, it's nimble, it's confidence inspiring, there's very little body roll, and you feel like you can push this car harder and harder. In fact, I just reviewed an M550i that had Dynon suspension, and even though that BMW weighs 200 pounds less than this E63, it felt more sluggish, more cumbersome around turns. But there's no denying 4,500 pounds is extraordinarily heavy. That's not helping the car in terms of acceleration. It's not helping the car in terms of cornering, and certainly not helping it in terms of efficiency. Does it hinder the car on a daily basis? Absolutely not. But if they had dropped another 200 or 300 pounds off its curb weight, it'd probably be a little bit more fun to drive. Next up is the price. As this car sits right now, it's $140,000, which is the equivalent to buying an in-and-out double-double every single day for 111 years. I f***ed up. That sounds awesome. And that's not even including the carbon ceramic brake option, which adds an additional $8,950. The E63S starts at $104,400. The BMW M5 starts at $1,800 less than that. The M5's options are cheaper as well. The most expensive paint you can get is $2,000, as opposed to the Mercedes paint, like the one on this, that costs $4,000 as an upgrade. The upgraded wheels on the M5 are $500 cheaper than the upgraded wheels on the E63. If you tick every single box on the M5's options list, it'll set you back $135,000, which is less than this car, and this doesn't have every single option. If you put every option on an E63S AMG, it'll be $150,000, which is, yeah, that is a lot of money. Now, part of that is due to the exterior and interior carbon fiber options on the E63S. There's $8,500 of carbon options on this car, every single one of them, from the exterior to the engine bay, to the rear spoiler and diffuser and interior, many of which BMW doesn't offer. But the interior carbon fiber on the BMW, which is a really expensive option on the Mercedes, is included for free. Oh yeah, and the CTSV starts at $86,000, so enough said there. Third up is the accessibility of the front view camera. On the Mercedes S550 that I have, there's a button to the left of the steering wheel that's shaped like a video camera. You click that, and if you're in drive, up pops a frontal view camera. If you put the car in reverse, you get the backup camera. Now, why is this useful? Well, when pulling into tight parking spots, you can see really clearly how much space you have on the sides of the car. You also get this aerial view, so you really feel like you know every square inch of the vehicle so that you don't bang it into other objects, especially given the fact that those cars are pretty expensive. But what I really like it for is making sure you get as close as possible to the curb or the parking block without going over it and crunching your front bumper. Especially on a long car like an S-Class, the E63 is long too. It's nice to be far forward in the spot so that you don't have your tail sticking out and somebody clips you. But in the E63, it's a lot more difficult than that, and it's starting to bug me actually. There's only one button to activate the camera, and that is to the right of the control panel here. It's shaped like a video camera, but really the button is for park assist, and it's not really a feature that too many people use, actually allowing your car to park itself. You really need ideal conditions, and it doesn't work every single time. I'd rather just park the car myself. But in order to find the front view camera, you have to click that button, then click OK, and then scroll to the right twice to activate the frontal camera, and then you are finally there. Whereas the S-Class, you click one button, seamless integration. Now, I know this is nitpicking here, but after living with the car for a while, it does get a bit annoying. Fourth up is the E63's suspension. There is no denying that this car rides very hard. Now, it's a luxurious sports sedan, but Mercedes has definitely taken the sports car first approach. There's very little body roll. It's fun to play with in the corners, but it definitely is pretty harsh over bumps and over long road trips. Now, I personally wouldn't have configured it any other way. I like the more hardcore route that AMG has taken with this car, as opposed to having a really soft suspension setup in comfort mode. But for others who aren't going to harness the true potential of the E63 as often, a businessman who wants an expensive, fast Mercedes to commute to work and maybe once in a while drives it quickly in the back roads, you might want to look at something else. Now, there's a multitude of different driving modes and suspension setups. We've got a button here that looks like a spring. We've got Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus, but even in Comfort mode, it still rides pretty hard. Now, part of this is due to the fact that I have the AMG performance seats. The butt portion of the seats are firmer than the normal ones. Like I said, I wouldn't have set this up any other way. I really enjoy the stiff suspension. That M550i I reviewed, even with the Dynon springs, still felt like it had significantly more body roll. When you hit the brakes, the nose dived more. When you accelerated, it pushed back more. It made for a less enjoyable experience when you really are pushing the car. Now, I haven't driven the new M5 yet. I'm gonna save full judgment until I drive that car, but this setup is for the performance enthusiast, not somebody who wants an expensive, flashy car that doesn't really ride all that well on long commutes. I can do long road trips in this car. I have, it's fine, but it's certainly no S-Class. Lastly, we have the car's fuel economy. Now, fuel economy really isn't all that big of a deal in a vehicle like this. You're paying 140 grand. Does spending a little bit of extra money on gas, is that a big deal? Not really, but it does mean you have to frequent the gas station more, and time is money, and it's a little bit annoying. Now, Mercedes rates this car at 15 miles per gallon in the city and 22 on the highway. That would be okay if you could actually achieve that in any way, shape, or form. I don't think I have ever seen a number above 14 miles per gallon in this car. In fact, I think my cumulative overall is like 12.9, and probably in the short trip I've done today, if averaged less than 10. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But really, you don't care about any of those things when you flick it into race mode, flip a couple downshifts, and pin the throttle to the floor. Oh, whoa! Whew. I really do love this car. I mean, those small little things are just nitpicking, just trying to find issues with pretty much the most perfect car. Definitely the most perfect car I've ever owned, and likely the most well-balanced car that I have ever driven or reviewed. Now, for those people who have watched this far in the video, thank you very much. I'll give you some bonus things that I don't like about the car, one of which is the new key. Now, the design of it is a lot better than the old key that they've used since like 2001, and it looks pretty upscale. You've got the Falterbach logo on the back, AMG. There's no real distinguishing lines in the key. If you're trying to figure out which button is lock and unlock in your pocket, or without looking at the key, it's really hard to tell where your thumb is, as opposed to the old key, which is really easy to feel which one was lock and unlock, and they weren't the same shape, and the key wasn't this kind of symmetrical, weird rectangle thing. Another thing I wish they had was more interior color options, especially with the stitching and the design of the seats. One, the standard seats, one of the biggest reasons why I got these AMG performance seats was the design of them. These look a heck of a lot nicer than whatever those 80-year-old man grandpa seats are in the standard E63. There really isn't any unique, cool design to them, which I know Mercedes is capable of it, because in the S-Class AMGs, whew, those seats look awesome. If you want to get something wild, your only option was getting an Edition 1 E63. Then you had this nice yellow piping and yellow contrasted stitching. Now, I almost decided to get that purely because it made the interior look a lot more lively, but there's a lot of options you can't get on the Edition 1 cars, namely the upgraded Burmester high-end audio, which I think is a mandatory option. Well, hopefully that is the most negative things I ever have to say about this car in my entire life. I'm in a terrible mood now. I'm sorry. I gotta make sure if she's okay. Are you good? All right, we gotta check this out. I'm sorry, it's nothing personal. I made an agreement to you guys that if there's negatives to a car, which there are for all of them, I'm gonna let you know. Otherwise, it's just kind of a biased review, isn't it? I do honestly, though, love this car so much. Almost potentially more than any car I have ever owned, including the Huracan. It's just so good looking, it's so luxurious, it's comfortable, it's fun to drive, it sounds awesome. It's the perfect combination. Mercedes, you absolutely crushed it with this beast. And now it's time to take her home. I got this thing washed yesterday, and then it rained right after that. It's not supposed to rain in Southern California. I'm sorry, you were clean, and now you're not. Hey, now that I've stopped filming my 5 things I hate about video, the sky is bluer than ever. To make sure I'm thorough with this, there's one more thing I don't really like. Now, I do quite enjoy that this pocket right here, you stick your phone in, and it has wireless charging. That being said, it only works if it's in the right spot, and because it has this kind of rubber feel to it, so your phone doesn't slip around, it actually kind of makes it difficult to get your phone in there into the right spot. there we go. And then you can't see anything. So if you've got directions, but you want to charge your phone here, yeah, you can't see it. And we are back. Hello, Ellie, looking good as ever. There you guys have it, 5 things I hate about my E63. We've got some upcoming exciting videos, so if you're not part of the family yet, smash that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on. Taylor has invited me out to the track, and I think it's probably time to take the E63. Now, I haven't really experimented with drift mode because where I'm located, there aren't really any good places for it, but the track is definitely a good place to experience drift mode, and I really want to get this thing sideways. I haven't driven Ellie in a long time. I think I need to turn the camera off and go take her for a rip. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next video.